Welcome to Fredo. So just begin to relax, and we're going to begin with a small meditation followed by the Journey of Fredo poem. So just begin to relax yourself and get settled. And if you need to move or adjust yourself at any time, feel free. And I just invite you to close your eyes and begin to observe your body sensations, your breathing, and any thoughts that may or may not come into the mind. Just gently scan through your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Simply observing, noticing any feelings, any sensations that may arise in any one of your body organs or parts of your body. Notice if there's any tension or any relaxation. And as you continue to breathe, you can now expand your awareness out into the room or the space that you're in. Just noticing the temperature of the air on your skin and any sounds around. Just continuing to breathe comfortably as your awareness expands out into the town that you live in or your surrounding area. Just observing how that feels. As your attention expands further still out into the world, into the whole world. Noticing the atmosphere, the feelings in the world, with all its people, animals, plants, different races and religions, different age groups, physical abilities, different cultures. Just noticing and observing the world. Maybe your attention goes to one particular country or culture. Or perhaps nothing, just a feeling. And as you continue to breathe comfortably, expand your awareness now out into the universe. The infinite universe of ever-ending space. Just notice the atmosphere, the energy of the universe. And you can just float around for a while. You can float around the universe as long as you want. Notice how that feels. Maybe you'll go somewhere, or maybe you'll stay in one place. And when you're ready, in your own time, you can gently begin your journey back into the world, back into the town, back into your space, and finally returning back into your body. once again noticing your breathing, noticing any thoughts, and noticing any body sensations. And while you're in this particular state, I'm going to read out the Frido Journey. It's a poem, The Journey of Frido. Something stirs from deep inside. It twists and turns 1,000 times. It pulls and stretches into shape. A figure shows and moves around. A hand supports it from below until it feels and begins to grow. Building blocks are put in place until the figure is nice and safe. The figure starts to create its own, from light and darkness, vibrating tone. Birth and death begin to rise. The figure splits to compromise. The figure then creates some space. Now life and death begin their race, until the space has found a way to stabilize and have its say. Space creates a home for all, the separation of large and small, of water, fire, earth and air, weight and lightness, cold and brightness, pain and sorrow, love and joy. Out of this space comes girl and boy. The figure has journeyed through time and space, feeling as though it has won the race, looking around only to find a universe of an amazing kind. The training's been tough, it's been testing and rough. The figure is ready, it's complete and steady. Back to the source, the figure must run, for now the journey has just begun. Hey, welcome to Frido, Journey to Freedom. So we're going to work on this symbol, this card called negative. So you can have a little look at that if you want to stop the video and take note. And it's like, this is like a little keyhole, which is in the box that contains the shadow in another card. So it's like looking through the keyhole, something that might feel negative. Part of the heart chakra, number 5 in the dark green. So we're going to work on that today with your word symbol that you've chosen. We're going to call it a symbol today, the word you've chosen. So if you just relax, and if you want, close your eyes. I'm going to read the card to you, and then we're going to continue on to the exercises. So this card is called negative. This is the negative part of your journey. It's destructive energy that we get when we're in fear with something. When we connect and express this part of ourself, we let go of limiting beliefs and release our fear. Negative does exist. If you ignore this, then you will lose your power. Have you ever acted in a negative way and afterwards thought, why did I do that? And why could I not help myself? To rebalance negative energy, you must first acknowledge it. You must begin to understand how it works so you can release it. An angry dog may be negative to someone, but to the dog's owner, it's their best friend, using its anger to protect. Fear to one person may freeze them, while to another it will give them powerful abilities, expanding awareness and fast reactions, like escaping danger or dealing with a difficult problem. I allow negative energy to be free. So when you're ready, you can come back into the space and we'll continue with our journey. We're going to start with a mind exercise called negative compassion. So first of all, find an object to represent your word symbol today. So think about the word you've chosen. I'm calling that a symbol, your symbol, and choose an object around you in your space. It could be a plant pot, it could be a piece of jewelry, it could be a key, it could be an item of clothing, something that can represent your symbol today. And if you're not sure, just pick any object. I now want you to pick 2 more objects that represent the word negative for you. So have a look around, pick 2 different objects that both represent something, the word negative. Again, it doesn't have to be, it could be a negative object or something that reminds you of something negative, or it could be just any object. The purpose is just to have an object to represent negative for you, so 2 different objects. Once you've got that, you can have 3 objects all together now. You've got the object that represents your symbol, you've got the 2 objects that represent negative. And one final object to represent the word positive. Okay, so the same thing, find an object to represent positive. You should now have 4 objects in total. I want you to begin by holding the object that represents your symbol, the first object you chose. And the idea of holding it in your hand or close to you, where you can feel it, touch it ideally, it can help you connect to that word, and it can connect to that part of your psyche also. So hold your object, your symbol, and either stay in the same position or you can move to a different space. Sometimes people like to move into a different space so that they feel like they can isolate that particular energy and they can tune into it better. But if you don't want to, it's fine. The object itself in your hand will help you stay connected to that symbol. And just connect into it, connecting to how that feels for you for now. Now in your other hand, I want you to choose one of your negative objects that you chose. So you've got 2 different objects representing negative for you. That was the second and third object you chose. And hold one of those in your other hand, in your free hand. So you can now connect to the negative energy also right now. So don't overthink it. And I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can just answer them either in your head or out loud. So I want you to ask, what's negative about your symbol? So the word you've chosen, which is your symbol for today's session, what's negative about that? And answer that. Have a think about it. Once you've answered that, you can stop the video in between my questions so you've got time to think about them. I'm just going to run through the questions. So maybe stop the video after every question. So the next question is, what's negative? So the first question is what's negative about your symbol, and the next question now is why is that negative? So whatever you answered, why is that negative? Okay, so stop the video and answer that. Next, I want you to put that negative object down, and I want you to now pick up your positive symbol, the last object you chose that's representing positive for you. I want to hold that in your hand. And I'm asking you the question now, what's positive about the negative? So think back about what you answered when you were answering your negative questions. And I want you to find out what's positive about that. What's positive about all those negative answers? It might be easy for you to answer, it might be difficult. If it's easy, there's no resistance. If it's difficult, we're finding some blockages there. So this is really good to work through. So take your time. The next question would be, why is that positive? So whatever you've answered in the sense of what's positive about the negative, now you're saying, well, why is that positive, what you've answered? Why is the positive answer positive? Now, once you've done that, you can remove the positive object out of that hand, and you can pick up the final negative object. You should have one more object left you haven't used, and that's the other negative object. And again, hold that, and I want you to answer what's negative about the positive. So think about what you answered as the positive. What was your positive answers? And I want you to now tell me what's negative about those answers. And once you've done that, the final question is, why is that negative? So the answers you've just given, the negative answers you've just given, why is that negative? Why are those answers negative? So take your time with that. If you need to go back and do it again more slowly, that's really good, and work your way through them. So we're going to move on to the body exercise now. It's called negative projection. So I want you to again connect to your symbol, your object. You can use your main symbol object if you haven't already taken it from your hand. So you can hold that, and I just want you to start to look at it and see if you can find anything negative about it. Take your time. You might know it might be a really positive object, something you love, but the object here is to try and find anything slightly negative. Even if you're not sure, you know, kind of make it up, elaborate if you're finding it difficult to find negative in your object. But just study it and try and find something that you could say, that's a bit negative. Maybe the colour is a bit faded or whatever. You know, you're looking for negative consciously. Because often we hide, you know, people who are very over-optimistic, over-attached to positive, don't see the negative. And that's where we have problems. If you don't see the hole in the ground, that you're walking along the path and there's a hole in front of you, if you don't see that, you fall in. If you can at least see it, you can avoid it. So this is why we work in observing the negative. So find as many negatives as you can. And now, finally, we're going to do a small ritual. You can use a mirror for this, or just by looking at yourself, because the idea is to observe yourself. So observe your own body, either by looking at it like this or using a mirror, if you prefer. A mirror is very powerful. Sometimes a mirror can be easier to do this exercise. and look in the mirror at yourself and try again to find anything negative. I know it sounds morbid, but actually this is the way to be free. Be free of the negative. Because it's things that we might be holding in our subconscious. We might not like, we might have never really liked our nose or a part of our body. Or maybe perhaps people, said something in our life, negative things about us. And that often holds in our body cells. So by actually looking at our body, finding any negativities that we can find, it can help release that negative energy. And again, often people can't release it because they don't want to look at themselves in a negative way. So we kind of try and ignore those negatives about us. So take your time, work through your body, look at your body, just find things you can nitpick and feel that is negative. If you're a very optimistic, positive person, this will be very difficult and challenging for you. So challenge yourself. Of course you can see positives in everything, but we're working with the negative energies here to release them. So find them. And people who are very connected to negative energy will find them easily. And that's okay as well. It's okay to consciously be aware of them. What we'll often find is when we're consciously looking at things that we feel is negative about us, that can also release that energy. So that's a beautiful ritual. We call this one negative illusion, because in fact it's an illusion whether I feel my nose is too big, or my ears are too small, or I've got not enough hair, or it's the wrong colour. This is an illusion that we've created into our reality. So in some way it's not an illusion, we've made it our reality, but we can also make that into an illusion. So keep on looking at negative things in your body until you maybe feel, you can do this for a few minutes or 5 minutes. The longer you do it, the deeper you'll go with it, the more you'll release, the more you'll connect to it. At the beginning you might not feel the negative energy, but with practice you'll start to feel it. The more you feel it, the more actually you'll be releasing it. It'll be coming out through the body. That's why you can feel it. It's coming through the body and out the body. No longer being trapped. So once you've done that, I want you to write down a key learning for your journey today. Have a think about it, what you've learned. And once you've kind of written down your learning, one powerful learning, condense it, create a learning affirmation with it. So that's like 3 or 4 words, very small, 2 to 3 words, 4 words maximum, where you can make it into an affirmation. In other words, it's like you've done it. The learning that you've written down, you've done it. So if you feel like your learning is, I feel like I can accept myself more, the affirmation would be, I accept myself. So it's something almost like you've got it already. It's not like you're learning it, you've already learned it, it's done. If I said to you in the future, what did you learn? You'll say, I learned to accept myself. I accept myself. So it's a very present feeling. I accept myself, this kind of feeling. So whatever comes to you, write down. And then finally, give yourself a challenge to put that learning into practice, to demonstrate it. How can you demonstrate it? Either now in your life, today, in this moment, or maybe another day. Is it you're going to pick up a phone to somebody, confront something, deal with something, take some action to show physically that you can do that affirmation. So have a think about it as well. Take your time thinking about it. What would feel like, yeah, that'd feel right. That would prove my affirmation is true. Because at the moment the affirmation is in the mind. So it's in the subconscious. It's getting the mind to accept that that's true. The physical practice is getting the body to accept it's true and make it into reality. So finally, give yourself a percentage. How well you feel like now you know your symbol, the word you've chosen for the journey today. How well do you know it? how well can you use its power? If you feel like you're like a master of that word, so if it's fear, are you a master of fear? If it's money, are you now a master of money? If it's anxiety, something negative, are you a master of it? So how well can you use that power? The more power you can use of it, the more of a master you are of it. So, a high percentage would mean you can use its power totally. A low percentage would mean it's probably you're not able to use it so well in your life, or it's using you perhaps. So finish it off with a percentage. It's very important for yourself to measure yourself, and hope you enjoyed that journey. All the journeys here are free, so feel free play with your friends. It's great to do as a group or with a friend, this activity, this exercise. And if you want a more personal session, get in contact or join one of our live webinars or come on a retreat. Anyway, hope you enjoyed yourself. Have a good day or evening. Take care, and remember, keep living the dream.